Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain. I'm Shannon and thank you for joining us on the most important 15 minutes of your day, where we share expert information on safety and preparedness that you can use in your everyday life. Last month, Kelly Sayre, founder and president of the Diamond Arrow Group, joined me to discuss how to set your boundaries and how to enforce them. Were you able to set this up? And did you try it out? I hope so. So the next question is, how do you know when someone is testing your boundaries? And does that person even realize they're crossing the line? Today, Kelly and I are going to continue our discussion on boundaries, and we'll talk about the different tactics to use to test these boundaries. So thank you, Kelly, again for being here. It's so much fun.
Yes, no, I'm excited to talk about this. This is probably one of the most requested questions I get, I should say, or asked of, well, how will I know if someone's testing my boundaries?
Well, perfect. Let's dive in.
Right. And I want to be right up front with your listeners on TV or through YouTube, I guess, and through the radio. It's The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. It was written many years ago, and many people consider it kind of a foundational book in situational awareness that's geared towards women and the things they face every day. So highly recommend that for everyone. Add it to your library. So one of the first things the book mentions is forced teaming. And what that sounds like is this person. So I'm going to set this up as a stranger, just for ease. So going forward, think of this as a stranger approaching you in the grocery store, approaching you in a parking lot. And all of a sudden they're saying a lot of we. Well, we better get these groceries in your trunk before it starts raining, or we better hurry inside, or, oh, we should go ask. It's using the word we a lot, which before you realize it, it's such a subtle thing.
Right, yeah.
You're like, oh, we're doing this together, and you might go with them, or you might help them in some way without really realizing it. You know, the next one is charm and niceness. And one thing I love that really impacted me was looking at charm as a verb versus a descriptor. So instead of saying, he's so charming, ask yourself, why is that person trying to charm me? Oh. And niceness doesn't equal goodness, right? Mm-hmm. And it's icky to sometimes think about this, because don't we grow up wanting to be charmed, wanting someone to sweep us off our feet as women, or nice is a good thing. We want to be nice. So how can we look at niceness as a weapon? Right. Well, keeping in mind that predators are going to use whatever tactics, and they're going to manipulate that social dynamic against you, because they know you would never use niceness as a weapon. But they can use that against you. So keep that in mind, that differentiator. Too many details. When someone's telling you a story and offering a lot of details, that should raise up a cautionary flag to you. I compare it to telling fibs when we were kids. If we knew we were telling a lie to our parent, we might be trying to tell a lot more details to make it sound like we're telling the truth. So anytime someone's giving you a lot of details, right away, you might find yourself going, why are they telling me all of this? Why are they being so descriptive? It's because subconsciously they know they're telling you a lie. So they're actually trying to convince themselves that this is the truth and convince you as well. So anytime someone's going into great detail, again, ask yourself, why? Why are they giving me all of this information that I didn't ask for? The next one I want to talk about is typecasting. This is those backhanded compliments, I guess you could say. You might hear it in a situation where, oh yeah, the likes of you would probably never talk to the likes of me. This kind of going back to when you were talking about flirting, or maybe you're in a social situation where you're single and you're trying to meet someone, but maybe they buy you or bugging you and you're like, I'm not interested. I'm not feeling it. This is, but they might then try to make you feel bad, guilt you into saying, well, yeah, you're too pretty to talk to me. Or the likes of you, you're too smart. You would probably not talk to an idiot like me, which then what do? We feel, no, I'm really nice. I talk to everyone. I'm not judging you. And then all of a sudden they've guilted you, made you feel bad.
Yeah.
So that typecasting, be very aware if someone's trying to make you feel bad for being you, making you feel bad for setting a boundary or saying no. Loan sharking. This is where somebody offers to do something for you or does a favor for you with that thought that you're then going to feel like you owe them. So you didn't ask for their help, but now they're almost forcing their help on you, knowing then that you'll have this, again, this social, construct of like, well, they helped me, so I should help them.
Right.
So be very aware if somebody has offered to help you and you said, no, I'm good, pay attention to that. And now all of these, I will admit the first time I read the book and I was reading through these, I was like, oh my gosh, this is describing all the things that you use to be a good salesperson. Like these are all things that salesperson, well, let's go out. We got to take a look at those new cars, or we got to find the right car for you, that forest teaming. So again, when you pick these up, they don't always have ill intent. Context matters. Ask yourself, what is the situation that I'm in right now where I'm starting to get these weird vibes? Does someone have ill intent or not? And again, if you then say, okay, no, I said I didn't want to talk to you, and I don't appreciate you making me feel bad for that. If you call them out on their behavior, and then they feel, oh gosh, okay, yep, sorry, I didn't mean to keep pushing. But there's two that we need to kind of say higher on the priority list for paying attention to, is that unsolicited promise. And what this could sound like is, just let me help you take the groceries up to your apartment. I promise I'm not going to hurt you. Or, hey, oops, little fender bender. You should probably get out of your car and take a look at the dent. I promise I'm not going to hurt you. Again, why? I didn't think you were going to, but why did you feel the need to give me that information and make a promise that you're not going to hurt me? That's something that you need to pay attention to right away. In situations where women have been assaulted or tried attempting to kidnap, like, just come with me. I promise I won't hurt you. Just do this. I promise I'm not going to, kill you. So again, those unsolicited promises, pay extra close attention to those. And then of course, what we preach over and over when it comes to boundaries is discounting the word no. If you've said no and you've repeated it, you've tried the nice angle, you've tried to be polite, you tried to do it tactfully, and they keep discounting that you've said no. Again, that says more about them than you, and you need to pay attention and you need to take action to get to safety or to keep yourself safe at all costs. It's those social scripts that can really get manipulated and used against us. It's not rude to have a boundary. It's not rude to not want to have a stranger buy you a drink, to not feel like talking. I have a best friend who told a story about, she had a local little cute coffee shop she liked to hang out and read. And it bothered her so much that she could be reading, obviously engrossed in her book, and somebody would sit down and start trying to talk to her. Even if she ignored them, even if she said, I'm trying to read my book, thanks. And they kept pushing. That's not you being rude. That's them being rude. That's them pushing that social script of, am I giving you any signs that I want to have a conversation?
Yeah.
So those are things that I like to remind women is, pay attention. It's their behaviors, not yours.
Right. And I have a friend that she was sharing her story with me like last week. And she had went into the grocery store and of course was trying to get toilet paper for the family. So got there like, before it opened. So there wasn't a lot of people in there. And there was a gentleman that was following her, and immediately, like what we talked about before, like she started feeling uncomfortable, like she was like, I was aware where he was. I was very uncomfortable. And she's like, I had to go all the way back to the back of the store to get the toilet paper.
Yep.
And she's like, and I was just so uncomfortable. And then he started like telling her, like, I really, it's kind of, I really like your feet. And she was like, I have Flintstone feet. I don't even know what he's talking about. But she wanted to get out of that situation. But again, it was, she felt she didn't want to offend him. She didn't want to make him feel like he was making her feel uncomfortable. And my whole conversation was, if he's making you feel uncomfortable, you've got to get out of there. Like, go up to the front, go ask the manager to get you. I know you want your toilet paper. It's not
Right.
worth it, you know, like,
Right.
and what we're saying, like, she didn't have a plan to set her boundaries. And then she was worried that she would offend him rather than, you know, pay attention to her needs, her feelings, what she needs. So I think anywhere we are, we feel that all the time.
Yeah. I think if out of all of this, if the one takeaway that a woman gets, or anyone really, is that if someone's disrespecting your boundaries, it's not rude to enforce your boundaries.
How do we change that narrative? Because especially as women, right? Men have more of that ability, you know, I wouldn't say they don't care, but they have that strength or the ability, where women, we have that strength. We have that know-how. We actually have, you know, way in tuned on those feelings. So how do we change that narrative of not worrying about offending people and actually standing up for ourselves?
Oh, that sounds like a great topic for next month.
Oh, well, see, Kelly doesn't even think of that.
We're going to hook them in for next month.
Ever, right?
Yes.
So
that's a very important topic, and definitely that's something I think we should dive deep into.
Yeah. So I think we can definitely carry that one on to next time. And one of the big things that I want to talk about still, because we have a few more minutes, is just on what should we do if we're in the back of the grocery store and this gentleman won't leave us alone with our feet? What would be some of the options that we could have in our, you know, bag of tricks on how to set our boundaries and use them?
Again, it depends, but in that situation, when it's a stranger, I would say raising your voice, drawing attention, bringing in kind of the bystander intervention options. If you have your small children with you, or any children, that's another thing to consider. Okay, what can I do? And getting help from an employee, from a manager. I wouldn't recommend necessarily leaving without saying something, because maybe this is somebody who is a repeat offender at the store. Maybe they need to trespass this person. Maybe they need to deal with it, and heaven forbid that they follow you out to your vehicle, and now all of a sudden you're in a lot more desolate area and might need to go physical. So again, trying to stay in the public space, drawing attention to yourself, and considering, what can I realistically do if I have kids? You know, yes, walk away from the grocery cart. Walk away from the grocery cart. Don't feel bad about, oh, somebody's going to have to restock it. You know what? Your safety is more important.
Right. And don't walk to the car. And if they're following you, don't go to your car. Don't get in your car, or don't go to your house. Like,
yes,
make a detour, go another way, like go back into the store, or go to a neighbor's house that you know, right? It's so many times, I think, I don't know why I do it. Like, I'm just so worried, you know, about other people's feelings rather than really holding my feelings to, and my senses to, value.
Because as women, we're raised to be the caretakers and take care of everyone else and everyone else's needs. So we're constantly putting everyone else's needs in front of ours. And so it's so subconscious that we don't even realize that we do that also for strangers who don't necessarily deserve that same attitude from us, or that same leeway with us.
Right. So that's something really important to remember, that everyone's personal space needs are different. And especially in the pandemic, we all have new ones or different ones. We're not sure about it. So it's not rude to have and enforce your boundaries. Please remember that. There are no apologies needed for that. So Kelly and I will definitely continue this conversation next month. So make sure you tune in. And thank you, Kelly, so much for joining us again.
Yes, so good to see you as always.
I know. I love it. You have so much information. So join me next week when Michelle Taylor, a dental office manager with almost 20 years in the dental field, discusses tips and trades for good oral care, not only during the pandemic, but a lifetime of gorgeous smiles. Thank you so much for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio. You've been listening to the most important 15 minutes of your day with me, Shannon Zeman. Remember, with knowledge, you have the power.